Hi, beautiful. Oneness Evolving here outside on my front lawn, and it's quiet, and I'm savouring the quiet. Because the building site is the building site, and it gets quite noisy, but at the moment, they must be having a break. So let me show you the world before I go inside and tell you how the 0 point field blew my mind today. Because it really did. But first, I'm just enjoying this beautiful purple cineraria. Just showing you around the garden while the live sort of wakes up and gets established and propagates around Facebook, because that seems to be a good thing. Oh, I should get this out of the way, shouldn't I? One moment, please. Wait one, please, caller. There you go. It's the stand that I'm going to put this on when I get inside, but for now, it's in the way. It is looking like a winter garden, and I still have not had an opportunity to prune the fuchsias, and you can see they're looking really leggy. But it's all right. I'm going to do that soon. I'm going to enjoy these flowers. And I'll show you in a minute the reason why I haven't pruned the fuchsias yet. Because I was busy doing something else. But first, look at these. These are going to explode into colour in spring. And look, and back in there, here's a wee violet. The violets actually flower in winter. And look, these geraniums, the pelargoniums that I've planted are all sprouting. They just go from cuttings and they're really easy. So they're in there. And look, you can see, yes, there's weeds, but look, I planted some here and they're going absolutely bananas. So that's very pleasing. Some of them are a bit smothered by the cineraria, but hopefully they'll do better in summer when the cineraria have gone away. But this is what I want to show you. Just looking up through the cherry tree, which is going to get pruned this weekend. It takes maintenance every year to keep it in good shape. And look at this. I just love this plant. It's beautiful in the breeze, and there's the sun coming through the leaves. It's one of my favourite things. And there's the magnolia. And look, so you can see, it always needs a bit of tidying up because it makes these long shoots. And you've got to tidy those away or the thing gets unruly. And I'm loving seeing the ferns here. They're just beautiful. But this is the really exciting thing. Ta-da! No tree! There's the tree that used to grow there. And here's the mulching heap that's still there. And there's the tree. So that was a very strenuous afternoon that I spent on Saturday. And there's a big heap of soil under there, which I'm just going to let it do what it does. And there's stuff on top of it. That will all get cleaned up. But for the moment, I just wanted to get it off here, which is where it was. So this is very exciting. And you can see I have disrupted these violets a bit. They're a bit grubby, but they're these white ones and they smell really good. And in a few weeks, they'll look like I never moved them. So that's exciting. No tree. And if I stand back and show you the sort of overall effect, it really does look better without that tree there. Because it was old and tired and really mostly dead. So I'm really pleased and relieved to have got that done. So just pan around the garden. And then I'm going to go inside and tell you what we've been doing today. Because, like I said, it blew me away. I'll show you the calendula as well. It just makes these beautiful bright colours. And look, this plant, has yellow centres. Hello, beautiful beings. It's lovely to see you on. And this one, look, you can see the pollen right there on the stamens. And then there's this one, which has the same centres. Look at the two different flowers. And the centres are not the same. Just depends on how old the flower is. So that's just a little garden tour. I'm going to take you inside now and tell you what I've been doing this week. Writing for God of Me, and briefly, because it's not the point, but if you're interested, you can check it out. God of Me is this crazy idea that I had a few years ago, and it really is about helping people to be God of themselves. Because who needs to be God of anyone else? I would rather just be God of me. And so I've been writing on God of Me for a couple of years, just walking into my lounge here. But about, a couple or 3 months ago now, The 0 point field, aka the unified field, source, divine, God, whatever you want to call. I just call it one, really. That's my name for it. Now I've got to organise this camera. Excuse me. Get myself organised here. Got the standy thing and just got to make the whole thing work so I can sit here and talk to you. Close. All right, that's good. A 0 point field said to me, can I write? And I said, hell yeah. And so it's been writing. I mean, it's a team effort, but it's been writing. And the voice and the content and the way that things are explained completely changed. And it's been really cool and quite an adventure because I never know from week to week exactly how this is going to evolve. So what we've been talking about in the last couple of weeks has been, how the hell do you know what way to go when you're confused? And I remember we mentioned last week, there are simple choices and you can say, well, I'll just do what everybody else does. But actually, how do you know if that's really going to work for you? And because just because it's worked for lots of other people doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. So how do you know in the long term? Because there are some choices you make. You think, well, this could actually have a significant impact on my life in the long term. How do I know if this is right for me? It's a real question. I'm getting warm here. And then there are the complicated questions where you just think, well, shit, I don't know. And you ask your friends and you even consult professionals. And at the end of the day, you realise that nobody understands you well enough to make the decision for you. And you have made the decision and your mind goes round and round and round and you think and you mull and you contemplate and you just don't know. How do you know? And so it's this whole question of accessing this guidance that humans have, and they really do. We don't just, most people think they use their brains to navigate life. That's only one of the guidance systems we have. We actually have three, and the first one is this. So last week we talked a little bit about how the heart can function as a guidance system, and actually because there's three. There's one in your head and there's another one in your gut. But we're talking about the heart. And the thing about the heart is that it becomes it is a trustworthy, honest, truthful guide if you understand how to use it that way. Because the thing is, we've got these three compasses, but most people only know how to use this one. And when this one is boggled, you're stuffed. So the first compass that we have is actually the heart. And I talked a little, we spoke a little bit about how the heart has 40,000 neurons. It's got a brain. It's called the intrinsic cardiac nervous system, ICNS for short. And that brain, like any set of neurons, makes an electrical thing. It makes an electrical field. But because it's spinning blood, the heart doesn't just pump blood, it actually spins it inside the chambers, and even it spins vortexes off down your blood vessels, and they're different depending on your state of being and what's going on in your body. So it's spinning and moving blood, and blood is an electrically conductive fluid, and when you move an electrically conductive fluid, you create a magnetic field. And so your heart makes an electromagnetic field. And depending on how your heart is functioning, depends on how that electromagnetic field works and how big it is. And that's about where we pick things up today. So, because of this electromagnetic field that we have, that our heart is always producing, every moment that you're alive, your heart is making an electromagnetic field. And it's actually the most amazing source of information if you understand a little bit how it works, what it is, and then how to use it. And what affects the size and the function of that electromagnetic field of your heart is whether it's coherent or not. And you think, what the hell is heart coherence? I had to look that up because I know how it feels and I know how to do it, but to actually say, what is heart coherence? It is a state of being when the heart and the brain are talking to each other, because there are nerves that run between them and there's communication. And when they're communicating well, they work together to regulate the whole body and all of its systems in harmony. That's the short version. There's information that's sent. More goes from the heart to the brain than vice versa. But then, the brain gets these really good instructions and it sends really good instructions to the rest of the body. And not only do you feel good, because you do when your heart's coherent, but your body heals and feels strong, and it's really cool. Heart coherence is really good. So, that's cool. So when your heart is coherent, it's like you've got a whole team of people maintaining your mansion. And when your heart is incoherent, you don't. You know, the house is covered with mold and ivy and it's just a mess, and that's incoherence. And your body, if your heart stays incoherent for long enough, your body will get sick, because the information from the brain's not getting good information from the heart, and then it doesn't have good information, so it can't send good information to the body, and the body gets dysregulated and you get sick. That's how that works. So what I wanted to get to, and I was wondering how the 0-point field would explain this, because for me it was like, oh my God, this is so complicated and I'll go around in circles, is how do we get information from that? And of course the 0-point field surprised the heck out of me. It said, okay, just remember now that everything, your finger, that window that I'm looking at there, the sky, the universe, that bus, the people on the other side of the planet, whatever it is, everything that is matter of some description is made of me. And I am the 0-point field, and I am liquid energy, a plasma of, literally the 0-point field is a plasma of teeny tiny little bits of spinning electromagnetic energy. That's what it is. And when they get organised, you have matter. And when they're disorganised, you don't. It's that simple. So everything is made up of that. And when those little teeny tiny bits of energy get organised, the pattern that organises them, you find everywhere. And it's coherent and it's incredibly beautiful. And when we experience it, it's love. Short version, it's love. And we talked a lot about that a few weeks, months, whatever it was ago. And that is the 0-point field. Love not as in, oh, I love you, you're amazing. Love as an order and coherence and balance and harmony, wholeness. That's what the 0-point field is. And so inside any piece of matter in the entire universe is that, even if the matter itself looks like a complete mess. So, oh my God, yes, right. And then the 0-point field was saying, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's whatever it is. It could be a rubbish dump. It's still made of all of that. Everything is me. And it said, okay, we're going to take an unusual example. Let's go to a rubbish dump. What do you immediately see in your mind? And for me, it was, well, I see seagulls, because where I live, where there's rubbish, because it's quite coastal, the seagulls come to pick over and look for food. They do that. And I mean, there are big machines moving it around and compacting it, and there's areas for drop off and there's areas for recycling, and it's quite well organised. And so it's not too smelly, and also because it's in the open air, so it doesn't smell bad. There's the sounds of the seagulls. I have memories of a rubbish dump, right? But that's not the information. That's just my memory. And the 0-point field said, okay, just pick one piece of rubbish, any piece. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you can recognise what it was before it got thrown away or not. Go inside that manky piece of rubbish that looks completely broken and useless. Somebody threw it away, and you will find me. You will find love. And I was sitting there writing that, and I just fell apart. And I understood why the 0-point field chose this example, because every single human on the planet at some time has felt cast aside, not wanted, broken, And I was like, I don't feel that way now, but it's something in me just wept. It was such a simple example. And then the 0-point field said, well, no matter what you're tuning into, no matter what question it is, no matter what you're thinking about, the first and fundamental piece of information that you're going to find anywhere is this love. And you can't escape it. You can't get away from me. Wherever you look, there's the pattern of my love. And I am you and you are me, and you're always going to be able to find that information in anything. And for some of us, that might be a bit hard to comprehend because we might think, what do you mean? And there's love in the shit that you call my life. But it's there because matter does not exist without this pattern that we have, this word love that we used to describe. So, and then the 0 point field said, okay, here's that piece of rubbish. What was it before it was that? Where did it come from? I mean, really, you know, if it was a piece of wood, well, it was a tree, and then the tree built itself from things that it got from the earth. And where did the earth come from? Oh, from outer space. And how does matter come? Well, there's the void, isn't there? There's a 0 point field, and something in the 0 point field starts to spin in coherence and create a tiny little piece of matter called proton. And then it happens again, and it happens again, and it happens again, and protons amalgamate, and you get, you know, and all of this is written out beautifully, quite beautifully, I think, because of course I wrote it, but we wrote it. It's all written out in this piece that we wrote today. And if you want to hear me read it, all you have to do is click on the link that's in this description and check out my Patreon and follow me for free, and you will hear me read it. I'll do it in a couple of days and put it up because I want to share this. You know, there's other stuff that if you want to support me with a little bit every month, then I share what's going on for me, and it's kind of cool and mystical and a bit weird and strange and everything else. But if you just want to know what we wrote, then you can access that for free. Just follow me on Patreon. And the link's in this post. So matter comes out of the void, and it's all held together by this fundamental pattern. And the first information that you will find in anything, especially if you look inside yourself, because your body's made of the same stuff. If you can look past all the things you think about yourself and the things you think other people think about you and everything else, and you go into your own heart, you will find in one proton in your heart that same pattern of love. You cannot escape from it. And the thing about that one proton in your heart, or the one proton in that piece of rubbish that the universe, that the 0 point field said, okay, let's look at this piece of rubbish at the rubbish dump. That proton has that pattern in it. And that's the first piece of information. But then, okay, what actually does that piece of rubbish know? Forgetting the distant past and how it came from the void and everything else, what was it before it was whatever it was? Let's say it's a broken plastic cup. Okay, once upon a time it was a fresh, brand spanking new plastic cup. Now, who used it? Where was it? What has it seen? What has it experienced? And before you think, well, it's a plastic cup, how can it experience or remember anything? Remember, it's made of these vibrating little, spinning little bits of energy, and everything has a resonance, and everything interacts with everything else's resonance, and it gets changed. It's like, you know, if you're sitting on a piece of land and there's a really big earthquake, the land is a different shape afterwards. Its frequency, its resonance, it changes things on a much smaller scale, but still in exactly the same fashion. Every experience that plastic cup has, because it has an electromagnetic field just like you do, just because you don't know how to sense it doesn't mean it doesn't have one. And just because you can't talk to it and ask it questions doesn't mean it doesn't remember in the matrix of its matter. So what has that bent, broken, cast aside, not wanted, and yet still made of love, plastic cup experienced, and where's it been? And then the next piece that we're talking about, which is going to be really interesting to see how it unpacks, but this comes from my study of the work of Nassim Haramein, is that even if you put all of that aside, the fact that this little plastic cup that's been thrown away because it was cracked or broken or somebody didn't want it or whatever, even if you put aside the fact that it's got the pattern of love inside it and it's got the resonant imprints of all of those experiences that it just happens to be around. You know, have you ever had that experience of picking something up and it makes your hand tingle and you put it down, or you just pick it up and you think, oh, I really like this? That's why, by the way. But even if you put all of that aside, there's another thing that I've learned from Nassim Haramein, and it is this concept of space memory. And there's more I need to learn about it. It's a short answer. But what I understand, and I know this is true, so we tend to think, well, I'm just on planet Earth and we're rotating around the sun and we're just sitting here in space doing that. But no, the sun is orbiting the center of the Milky Way. The Milky Way isn't orbiting, but it is being drawn, it is moving through space because it's actually being drawn on a collision course towards the Andromeda Galaxy, billions of years in the future, but it's moving. Everything is moving. There's even some theories now that the whole universe is spinning, and I'm sure that NASA believes it is, because everything else is spinning. Why would the universe not be doing that? It's a black hole, is what he says, and black holes spin. So, never mind all of whatever the plastic cup has experienced. Just the fact, I've lost my thought. How did it get from, I knew I'd lose my thought when I explained that piece, but I wanted to. So the question that we ended up asking is, okay, what was it first? It was this unbroken plastic cup. How did it get from being me, as in the 0 point field? How did it get from being the 0 point field to being the plastic cup? It spent billions of years on the planet Earth. Okay, but how did it get there? What footprints has it left as the protons that came to be part of the Earth and ended up being part of the oil that made the plastic cup? What footprints have they left through the universe? Because the theories, the math that he's working out is really showing that that's what happens. Everywhere we go, just like a little earthquake, we leave a vibrational footprint everywhere we go. We carry it with us, but we also leave it where we go. So, you know, I'm not in the same part of space that I was 50 years ago, but there's a memory of who I used to be that's actually stored in that piece of space. That's pretty wild. But it's not just a memory of who I used to be 50 years ago, the memory of who you used to be 50 years ago if you were alive at that time. And everything that's on this planet, and, you know, it's all stored in space memory. And that's kind of mind-blowing to me, and I don't know that I'm explaining it very well. But the point I'm finally trying to make is that the information that we need to make those really difficult decisions, or even the simple ones that you just think, oh, I'm not sure, is available. And it's available through this electromagnetic field that our heart makes when we are coherent, because all that information is also available as electromagnetism, and our heart is like a big satellite dish in that it can receive that information. And it sends that information to the brain translates it, and then we think, oh, I know what to do. That's what actually happens. And the 0 point field actually said, you notice I'm not telling you how to do this right now. And the reason is, there's a lot of information. I mean, think about everything that the protons and the little bits of matter in that dead plastic cup. No. How old are they? They've been around since the beginning of time. How much information is there? So much. You plug your brain into that, it'll probably explode. So you need to have a way of zeroing in on the information that you want. And that's part of what the 0 point field will teach us. But being confused and feeling cast aside, I put that on this post because they go together. If you're feeling cast aside, you're feeling separate. That means your heart's incoherent. And by separate, I mean you're feeling isolated, you're feeling sad, you're feeling angry, you're feeling whatever it is. But if you were feeling loved, you would not be feeling like that. If your heart is incoherent, you don't feel love. You feel the other things. If your heart is coherent, you feel love. So, and I mean, if you want some simple, straightforward answers that you can use right now, because you think, oh shit, my heart must be really incoherent, go to HeartMath. They've got a website, HeartMath Institute. There are some really simple tools that anybody can use, and they work. So, feeling lost, feeling thrown away, feeling like nobody gives a damn, your heart's incoherent. And you may have to work to find what coherence feels like. I certainly did. It took me years. I tell you, it was worth the effort. Really worth the effort, because now my heart's finally starting to work. It's amazing. You should be able to feel love. And then if you're feeling confused, the same thing. You can't connect to all that information that's there. Because the mechanism, that the satellite dish, it's turned around the wrong way, and there's broken wires. So you have to have a coherent heart to be able to receive the information that you really want and need to know which way to go in your life. And it's actually, in some ways, I think it is simple. It really is simple once you know how. And if you go to HeartMath Institute, you will find out how simple it is. The reason why I'm qualifying that is because some of us just can do this. And it's wonderful. Many people can just, but me, I couldn't. It was just so damn hard. And so I guess I'm saying that if you just find you can't find that switch and flick it straight away, don't panic. Some of us just have more effort to make to find out how to make our hearts coherent. But this is our primary navigation tool. This is the compass that says, you're totally confused, go that way, even though you can't understand it. Just follow your heart. And it's not ooshy-gooshy, I feel excited about it. It's just, I know. I have to go that way. I just know. And that's the kind of knowing that only your heart can give you. So we've still got a lot to write about this. It's a big thing, and I was totally blown away by the way the 0 Point Fields explaining it. I did not expect this. How can I expect it? I'm in the unknown every time I sit down to write, but I love seeing how this unpacks. So if you've got this far in the video, wow, thank you. I love your company. I appreciate your attention. Like and subscribe. Check me out on Patreon. I'd love to know what you think. Until next week, much love. See you then.